हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांतो राधा कांतो नमस्ते नमो श्रीमते कृष्ण त्रैगुणे श्रीमद् भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पश्चात विस्तारिणे श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे 2 hours in daily life of Srila Prabhupada's personal servant at any ISKCON temple. The process for preparing Srila Prabhupada's lunch was usually the same. About half hour before I was to massage Srila Prabhupada, I made a small chapati dough, chopped various types of vegetables, and placed them in the middle tier of Srila Prabhupada's famous 3-tier cooker. I put cauliflower and potatoes on or some other vegetable combination in the bottom tier with some water to become a wet vegetable. In the top tier, I put a small 2-part tiffin. I put split dal in the bottom with water and rice with water in the top. More vegetables were placed around the tiffin in the top tier of the cooker. I then placed Srila Prabhupada's famous 3-tier cooker on the stove with the heat set at a medium-low flame. Then I left the kitchen to massage Srila Prabhupada. Usually his massage lasted 1 to 2 hours. The trick in using the cooker during the massage was not to let the water dry out in the bottom. Srila Prabhupada showed me how to use the cooker with dal on the bottom. A few times the dal started to burn during the massage. That was a great source of anxiety for me. I never wanted to leave Srila Prabhupada in the middle of his massage, but sometimes we smelled the dal burning. What is that smell? Srila Prabhupada would ask me. He knew it was his lunch. After rendering this service for about 8 months and burning a few lunches, I came up with the idea of cooking a wet sabji on the bottom and steaming the dal and rice in the top tier. That eliminated my anxiety because the wet vegetable didn't thicken and burn like dal. When completing Srila Prabhupada's massage, I always poured a small amount of mustard oil into the palm of his hand to oil the gates of his body. Then he walked. Then he walked to the bathroom to bath. This gave me about 20 minutes to complete the rest of my service. First, I neatly laid out his dhoti, kurta, and kopin on his bed. I buttoned the bottom 2 buttons of his kurta, so Srila Prabhupada would have only 2 more to close. I then raced to his sitting room and prepared his desk for applying tilak, which meant opening his mirror. It was round like that of a powder compact, with a piece of carved ivory on the lid. I always made sure that his small silver lota about the size of a golf ball had water in it. A small silver spoon was placed next to the lota. Finally, I placed the ball of tilak at the center of his desk. After that, I ran to the servants' quarters to finish preparing lunch. I removed the cooker from the stove and put a wok on the fire in order to make a large chance. If needed, the lid of the cooker was used for this purpose. Some of the chance was poured into the wet vegetable in the bottom tier and a little was put into the dal in the top tier. Then I poured the assorted vegetables into the remainder of the chance in the wok. If a bitter melon was available, I salted it in ghee and turmeric. I prepared another chance to cook the remaining vegetables. I placed all the preparation on Srila Prabhupada's plate along with a katori of plain yogurt and another with milk sweets. With Srila Prabhupada's plate almost ready, it was time to roll and cook a chapati. Hopefully, all of this was done at about the same time His Divine Grace finished chanting Gayatri Mantra. He didn't mind waiting a few minutes, but I got scared if he had to wait longer than that. I put the plates down on his chowki, offered my obeisances, and ran back to my room to cook another chapati. After he finished eating chapatis, he opened the small tiffin filled with rice. Srila Prabhupada usually ate 3 to 6 chapatis with his meal. More often than not, he ate 3 or 4 chapatis. He enjoyed the remainder of his meal with steaming hot rice. It was wonderful to cook for you, Srila Prabhupada. I pray to become an expert cook like my god sister Yamuna Devi, so I can offer you some choicest foodstuff life after life. May 1973, ISKCON, Los Angeles. Late one morning, Srila Prabhupada rang his bell. I entered his sitting room and offered my obeisances. I am not feeling well today, Srila Prabhupada said softly. So, for my lunch, please make me some khichdi and curdy sauce. You can make the khichdi with 2 parts rice, 1 part dal, and use a little salt, turmeric, and ghee. That will be light and easy to digest. All right, Srila Prabhupada, I said. Srila Prabhupada usually didn't give much information about his health, so a dietary adjustment was the only way I knew Srila Prabhupada was ill. Occasionally, he asked for khichdi when he had a cold. I went back to my quarters to prepare his cooker. I put khichdi on the top level and water on the bottom. This meal was much simpler than usual. I felt relieved knowing there was no chance of anything burning during his massage. But sad that day, Srila Prabhupada wasn't feeling well. Normally, I was cooker conscious while massaging Srila Prabhupada due to my searing memory of burning Srila Prabhupada's lunch twice in 2 years. Twice was 2 times too many. After setting up the cooker, I returned to his room. Srila Prabhupada sat down on the mat for his massage. Normally, I massaged his head with sandalwood oil because of its cooling effect. When he had a cold, though, he sometimes instructed me to use mustard oil over his entire body. On this day, he told me to use only mustard oil. About 15 minutes into the massage, he said, "So I have decided I don't think I will take any lunch." All right, Srila Prabhupada, I said, lamenting that he must have felt quite ill. I continued to massage his beautiful form for another half hour. Actually, Srila Prabhupada said, "I think I will have a regular lunch." All right, Srila Prabhupada, I said, momentarily relieved that his health was improving. He remained silent. Suddenly, I became overwhelmed with great anxiety, remembering that I didn't have anything prepared except for khichdi. It would take a long time to prepare a full lunch. I was so frightened to say anything about predicament. Prabhupada, I don't have anything ready, I finally said. It may take a little time. Whatever it takes, he said, just do it. When Srila Prabhupada went to bath, I darted into my quarters and put his lunch together as quickly and nicely as I could. I was probably in more anxiety than necessary, but that is how my feeble mind worked. I prided myself in keeping ahead of my regulated service to eliminate potential problems. Srila Prabhupada graciously waited for me to complete his lunch without any complaints. He sometimes put me through changes like this to teach me to be more flexible. My service was to do whatever he wanted, not what I wanted. Srila Prabhupada, thank you for giving me the chance to focus on your contentment while performing my duties as your servant. Due to my fallen nature, I often forget that devotional service means to personally please you, and in this way, Krishna is pleased. Please continue to guide me daily in your personal service, teaching me unconditional love. Hare Krishna, Ronak Bro, आप पढ़ेंगे?
Hare Krishna, bro. April 11, 1975, ISKCON, Hyderabad, India. I can remember only a few times when it was difficult being in the same room with Srila Prabhupada. Obviously, one could easily imagine yearning to be in His Divine Grace's presence 24 hours a day. However, the presence of others sometimes changed the atmosphere in Srila Prabhupada's room. One day, Devanand Maharaj came to visit Srila Prabhupada. He had been initiated by Srila Prabhupada and was now a sannyasi. He had also been his personal servant for a short while in 1970. He asked to see Srila Prabhupada and was allowed darshan even though he was no longer a member of ISKCON. Srila Prabhupada was seated behind his desk, and upon entering Srila Prabhupada's room, Devanand did not offer his obeisances. Brahmanand Maharaj and I were also in the room. Devanand wore a bright orange satin robe, and his long hair and beard was matted. He had a very strange smile on his face. He began to speak to Srila Prabhupada in such a peculiar way that I couldn't understand anything he was saying. He moved his hands about as if he were doing some type of mudra. It was too bizarre to watch. He appeared to have had too much intoxication. Srila Prabhupada tolerated his nonsense for a few minutes. There was no conversational exchange as Devanand was incoherent. Finally, his all-merciful spiritual master Srila Prabhupada said, "If you want to come back, you do like him." He pointed to Brahmanand Maharaj and continued, "You shave your head and face, put on the dhoti, and then it's all right. You may come back." Devanand continued, flailing his arms. "No, this is not why I am here," Devanand said. He continued to move his body about while speaking nonsense. Srila Prabhupada had enough. "Get out," Srila Prabhupada shouted. Devanand started to shake with anger. Brahmanand Maharaj grabbed him and forcefully escorted him out of the room. Srila Prabhupada was furious. Even though his anger was not directed toward me, I felt like I had been struck by lightning. Just being in the vicinity of Srila Prabhupada's anger was frightening. If I could have disappeared, it was the time to do so. It is difficult to describe the spiritual potency generated by Srila Prabhupada's rage. His total commitment to his disciples was obvious by this encounter. This was one of the most difficult experiences I faced while being with Srila Prabhupada. It was amazing how he tolerated Devanand's bizarre behavior. He offered to accept him back as his disciple, even though Devanand had strayed far from the Krishna conscious path and had obviously crossed the threshold of sanity into madness. When His Divine Grace saw he had no interest in accepting instruction, he mercifully sent him away before he could commit any more offenses. Srila Prabhupada, I beg you to protect me from myself. I don't want to ever do anything that would cause you to become so angry. The greatest danger is to lose the shelter of your lotus feet. My senior god brother was steeped in illusion, wallowing in the mood of ignorance and drowning in the quagmire of false ego. By your potency, you had elevated him to a high post, and by your grace, he had achieved a grand standard of service as a sannyasi. Even while you were with us, some of your disciples became illusioned, thinking they needed to go elsewhere to find protection. The result of his devastation was apparently disastrous. Perfection for me is to sit in my servant's quarter and wait for you to ring the bell. I pray to answer your call by running to your room, offering obeisances, and seeing your lotus feet as they peek out from the under your desk. Devanand later died in self-induced starvation in a cave in South India. Blissful Airport Leela, Love is Service, April 13, 1973, ISKCON, Los Angeles. Certain service was especially ecstatic. Walking behind His Divine Grace as he left the airplane and entered the terminal building was one of the most amazing experiences. At this time, it had been 8 months since Srila Prabhupada was in the United States. It was wonderful the way he prepared himself for his grand entrance. After the seatbelt sign went on, instructing the passengers to stay seated, he usually got out of his seat, went to the bathroom, and put on tilak. I accompanied him waiting outside the bathroom door. The walk to and fro our seats could be exciting if the plane rocked about due to the turbulence or lumbered in for a landing. If an attendant tried to stop him, he ignored her request, as if he didn't hear her. As he returned to his seat, he carefully hung his bead bag around his neck. When the plane landed, he put a flower garland on. If there were other garlands, he gave one to each person in his party. As he left the plane and entered the corridor, chanting could be heard in the background. It grew louder and louder as we entered the lounge. Srila Prabhupada's smile grew larger as he approached his loving disciples. On this day, there were several hundred devotees in the airport as Srila Prabhupada walked into the terminal. They were all oblivious to everyone and everything going on around them, except for their glorious spiritual master. I have no qualification to describe the feeling of my god brothers and god sisters, as I have never been fortunate enough to have such strong loving emotion for Srila Prabhupada. It was obvious to everyone In the airport, the devotee were feeling transcendental bliss. The loving reciprocation between Srila Prabhupada and his disciple was the easiest to see in his airport Leela. For, Leela. For several minutes, it seemed that no one's feet touched the ground. Torrents of ecstatic tears flowed freely from everyone except for one fallen soul, me. We arrived in Dwarka and entered Srila Prabhupada's quarters at about noon. I immediately prepared for his massage. During the massage, my mind was very disturbed. I could not free myself from the pain of thinking that everyone had such love for their guru except for me. I was a cheater, an imposter. I finally got the courage to speak while massaging Srila Prabhupada's back. This way, I didn't have to speak to him face to face. Srila Prabhupada, I said, all your disciples have so much love for you. It makes me feel so bad. I lack this intense love. When I'm with you at the airport, I can see everyone dancing, chanting, and crying. I have so much association with you, yet I don't feel this overwhelming love like they do. I hope he would say something to relieve my mind. He remained silent, tormented. I finished his massage and went back to my room to finish preparing his lunch. After he chanted Gayatri Mantra, he called me in his room. As I entered, I offered my obeisances and looked up with great concern because he had such a serious look on his face. So, do you like serving me? He asked. Oh, yes, Prabhupada, I said. I like serving you very much. Then that is love, he explained. Everyone can do so many things singing, dancing, jumping up and down. But you are actually doing something. Isn't this love? I guess so, Srila Prabhupada, I said. So you just do your service, he continued. That is all that that is all that is necessary. This is what love means, to do service. My dear Srila Prabhupada, you have always been compassionate upon this fallen soul. You have encouraged me over years, even though I have been unable to grant you residence in my heart. I see now, as I saw then, that so many of your disciples have such great love for you, and I have none. Despite this, you allow me to the intimate service of describing your amazing grace upon this ungrateful wretch. It is ironic that out of all your disciples, you have selected me, a dried out toad, to ascribe your juicy lila. Actually, it is just another display of your causeless mercy. Thank you so much for your kind words. I pray that someday I'll be qualified to taste a drop of love of Godhead so that I can sing, dance, and chant like your devoted disciples. Hare Krishna, Subham Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Guruji.
Hare Prabhu.
Joking with his younger sister Pisima. July 1973, ISKCON, Calcutta. I first meet Bhaktarini, Srila Prabhupada's sister, during this visit to the Calcutta temple. From then on, she was always known as Pisima, which I think means sister. She was an incredible sight. She was a few inches shorter and quite a bit heavier than Srila Prabhupada, but her face was undeniably like a female Srila Prabhupada. Whenever she came to the temple, she brought sweets and gave them to her older brother Srila Prabhupada. She then distributed them to all of the devotees in the temple. She loved to associate with Srila Prabhupada and spent as much time as she could in his presence. It was impossible for me to understand their conversations since I didn't understand Bengali. But sometimes His Divine Grace described some details. It was obvious she had great love for her brother, not just on a material platform, but was able to comprehend his topmost spiritual position as well. She cooked for him often. This was a source of great anxiety for his disciples because she always used mustard oil in her cooking, which Srila Prabhupada said was difficult to digest. Just 1 minute. Yes, Guruji. Once, when she was approached about this method, she responded, "He can digest nails if you want." One day, as I massaged Sri Prabhupada before lunch, he said to me, Do you know any person who is fat without eating? No, Sri Prabhupada, I said. I don't know anyone. Are you referring to your sister? He laughed loudly. Yes, he said. She tells me she is eating just like a little bit, but she keeps on gaining weight. You don't know anyone who keeps on gaining weight without eating, do you? No, Sri Prabhupada, I said, checking. I don't think it is possible to gain weight without eating. Now both of now both of us were laughing. Yes, he said. I don't think so either. I think your conclusion is correct. She has to be eating very much. She tells me she is not eating, but I know she is eating. She complains to me about her health, that she doesn't feel well. I told her, you are so fat. How can you be healthy? She said, I don't know how. I am hardly eating at all. I don't know how I am so fat. I continued massaging Sri Prabhupada, understanding uh, I continued massaging Sri Prabhupada, understanding how comfortable he was in his hometown surrounded by his family. I was so grateful to be able to associate with Sri Prabhupada during such intimate moments. I could see his concern for his sister's health, as he sometimes said that disease came from anxiety, uncleanliness, and overeating. That evening, Sri Prabhupada was giving darsana to his disciples. Krishna was also present in the room. She didn't find that she could not understand the conversation. She enjoyed being with just wait for a minute. Where was she enjoyed sorry Guruji. She enjoyed being with him as much as possible because she unconditionally loved her brother. How elevated and fortunate she was to have a natural love and affection for Sri Prabhupada. Look at her sitting there, Sri Prabhupada was smiling. Look at her, how fat she is. Everyone began laughing, including Sri Prabhupada and Pisima. He continued poking fun at her in a rascal-like boyish way. She is so fat, he said. Look at her, how fat she is. She says that she doesn't eat, but still she gets fat. The room was filled with laughter. Pisima enjoyed seeing everyone laugh and didn't realize that her older brother was making fun of her. Sri Prabhupada enjoyed his joke and relished his disciple being a part of it. It was a rare and wonderful moment for everyone. Sri Prabhupada seeing you in that happy, carefree Leela was pure nectar. I pray that in a distant lifetime, I can bring a smile to your face as you laugh at me in my foolish predicament. Presently, in my fallen conditions, the only emotion you can feel for me is compassionate concern or annoyance due to my bumbling inability to properly or attentively follow your instructions. Pisima is sleeping in my bed. September 1974 ISKCON Krishna Balram Mandir, Vrindavan, India. Sri Prabhupada stayed in Vrindavan for 6 weeks. During this time, he was very ill. In many temples around the world, 24-hour kirtan was being held. His sister Pisima was also staying at the temple in Vrindavan much of the time. She was concerned and wanted to see her brother as often she could. One of my duties was to minimize this as much as possible. I was not an easy or enjoyable service. It was not an easy or enjoyable service. It was no coincidence that Pisima's powerful determination was similar to Sri Prabhupada. She never listened to me. In fact, she would become quite upset and angry with me. She had a way of slipping into his room when no one noticed. After one of his, uh, after one of her visits, Srila Prabhupada called me into his room. I am a sannyasi, he said. It is not good that she stays in the room when no one is present. Even she is my sister. Because she is my sister, she cannot understand it. I cannot have a woman in the room with me, even though she is my sister. One afternoon, I walked into the servant's quarters, which was also my bedroom, and she was sleeping in my bed. I was amazed. I hurried into Sri Prabhupada's room, where he was sitting at his desk. I offered my obeisances and had a look of anxiety on my face. Prabhupada, Prabhupada, I said, your sister is sleeping in my bed. I don't know what to do. She cannot, he said. You tell her. She must be told that she cannot be doing these things. It is not good. They will talk. Sri Prabhupada was referring to the local sannyasi, caste Goswami, and God's brothers who might criticize our beloved Gurudev. Sri Prabhupada often said that everything must be first class while in Vrindavan or we would not be taken seriously. As always being the Acharya, he set an example for us. It is not it is not good that she is spending so much time like this, he continued. Prabhupada, I cannot say anything to her. I anxiously explained. She would not listen to me. She only listens to you. That day he spoke to her for quite a while. I don't know what the conversation was about, but I do know that when I went to the servants' quarters the following day, I cautiously peeked into the room, and there she was, sleeping in my room. Quite soundly, I gave up. I left the area and found a spot on the other side of Shilpa's room. She knew her brother was transcendental and it did not matter to her what anyone else thought in regards to her being a woman. She was his sister. Her resolve to be near her pure devotee brother was much greater than my ability to prevent her from doing so. She did whatever she had to do to get Sripa's association. I later mentioned to him that she had been in my room again. She is my sister, he compassionately says. She wants to be around me. At the end of 1977, Tat Sarup Maharaj told me that Sri Prabhupada had asked her forgiveness for his offenses. Sometimes you may have come to see me and my disciples have not let you in, he told her. I beg forgiveness from Bhavtarini for my many offenses that I committed while trying to do my service. I beg that in the future my love for Sripad will develop to the degree displayed by his sister. By her determination, she was able to be Sripad's younger sister and assist him throughout their life. I pray to have the same desire that Bhavtarini had to serve the lotus feet of Sri Prabhupada life after life. कृष्ण अभिषेक टूल जी पढ़ सकते हैं.
Srila Prabhupada ecstatic symptoms. March 1975, ISKCON Mayapur Chandrodaya Mandir. Many joyful adventures took place daily while traveling with Srila Prabhupada. So much nectar flowed from the regulated activities of personally serving our glorious Gurudev. Who could imagine anything more wonderful than cooking, massaging, and tending to the needs of his divine grace? Except for being present when his divine grace exhibited ecstatic symptoms. It was the rarest of treasures. These exceptional events invariably took place while Srila Prabhupada sat on his Vyasasan in the temple room during his lecture. The most widely known took place during the Mayapur festival. Hundreds of devotees were assembled in the temple room while Srila Prabhupada spoke. Suddenly, he stopped and became silent with his eyes closed. Everyone in the room became still, not wanting to disturb him. A pin drop could be heard. We didn't dare to breathe too loudly. This went for some time. Hundreds of devotees were transfixed on his divine grace ecstasy, each being transported by his rapture. Our minds were overwhelmed with blissful anticipation. Srila Prabhupada carried us all to another realm. Suddenly, one sannyasi seated near the Vyasasana began loudly chanting, Namo Om Vishnu Padaya. I felt jolted from a heavenly realm. Gradually, the devotees began to join in the kirtan. Soon, Srila Prabhupada regained his external consciousness and joined his disciples in the kirtan. After the kirtan, there was disagreement among the devotees. Some criticized the sannyasi, saying, "How could you do that?" Srila Prabhupada was in ecstasy. You could see no one else was chanting. You should have stopped. Oh, I thought I would chant, he replied. It seemed like the right thing to do. Brahmanan Maharaj was Srila Prabhupada's secretary at that time. He was trying to meditate in this matter, but no one could arrive at the conclusion. So he agreed to take the issue to Srila Prabhupada. We went into Srila Prabhupada's room in that afternoon. Srila Prabhupada, Brahmanan Maharaj said, do you remember at the lecture when you stopped speaking and went into ecstasy? Before he could continue, Srila Prabhupada responded in the sweetest voice, sounding like a little embarrassed. I do not do that very often, Srila Prabhupada said. No, Srila Prabhupada, Brahmanan said, understanding Srila Prabhupada's humility. But when it does happen, what should we do? Should we just sit there, Srila Prabhupada, or should we chant japa? Yes, just chant, he said. Chant Hare Krishna. Why are you making it such a big thing? What is to be done? Just chant Hare Krishna. This is all right. As always, there is no way to properly describe how Srila Prabhupada spoke. When he said, I do not do that very often, it was the most innocent voice I had ever heard. The gentle grace and humility he displayed was amazing. He was apologizing for exhibiting the symptoms of a pure devotee. It appeared that Srila Prabhupada felt awkward exposing us to his ecstasy. One of the most wonderful things about his divine grace was the way he always made us feel that if we just followed the process of Krishna consciousness, that we could advance to the perfectional stage without difficulty. It seemed that he didn't want to discourage us by showing how special he was, just allowing us to consider Krishna consciousness too difficult for neophyte. He gave us hope. He made us feel that Krishna consciousness was for all of us. He always spoke of himself in the plural. We are Krishna's servant. Srila Prabhupada included us, just as he transported us on that special day in Mayapur. He continued to take back to back to Godhead. Srila Prabhupada, thank you for a peek into your private ecstasy. I could have realized the opportunity to sit at your feet in in, in that temple room for hours. I can only imagine where you were. I take great pride in knowing that you are the topmost personality within these three worlds. Still, you spoke humbly about revealing a glimpse of your ecstasy. I begged for the chance to hear your sweet voice again and again. Srila Prabhupada, dreams of wife inattentive cause fall down. Once a sannyasi confided to Srila Prabhupada that he was having difficulty because of attachment to his wife. Even last night, Srila Prabhupada told him, I had a dream about my wife. The attachment is that strong, even I have been away for so many years. Still, last night, I had some dream about my wife. Therefore, the injunction is there. You can never see your wife after you have taken sannyas. You can never even see her because just by seeing her, so many thoughts can be brought to the mind. Later, during his stay in Calcutta, he spoke humorously about attachment between man and woman. Women are compared to fire, and man, they are like butter, he said. Therefore, our sannyasis, they should have stamped on their forehead, keep in cool place, just like on the butter package. It says that. So our sannyasis, they also should have that stamped on their forehead that will keep them safe from danger. Our Gurudev mercifully engages us in Krishna consciousness in spite of our degraded condition. He heroically rescued us and is leading us back to Godhead. सौरभ प्रभु आप पढ़ सकते हैं.
जी प्रभु जी. Okay. Dreams of wife inattention causes fall down. May 1971, ISKCON Los Angeles. While in New Dwarka, Srila Prabhupada liked to take his morning walk on the beach. Included in the group one morning was Kirtananand Swami, Kuladri, a young bhakta about 17 years old, and myself. During the walk, the bhakta spotted a large sand crab scurrying along the sand. He stopped to watch it while the rest of us talked with Srila Prabhupada. The ever observant Srila Prabhupada said, this boy is too much attached to material things. This little neglect will snowball. Everything comes, first little things and then big things. The walk continued with the boy catching up to the rest of us after a minute. No one brought up the incident to the young bhakta. When we arrived back in New Vrindavan a week later, the boy left the temple and was not seen again as Srila Prabhupada predicted. Srila Prabhupada, please stamp my forehead with the words, keep at the lotus feet of Jagat Guru. Without your lead, I walk with the crabs. Srila Prabhupada Vacha 89, on the eve of becoming Prabhupada's servant. Please scroll. Okay. Srila Prabhupada had been in New Vrindavan for a week, and all I saw was the inside of the Bahulaban kitchen. I was extremely envious of my god brothers and god sisters who had been going up the hill to see Srila Prabhupada and hearing him speak every day. I was cooking for a few hundred devotees from 3:30 a.m. until 9 p.m. They all came to see Srila Prabhupada during the annual Janmashtami festival. Since I did not have time to chant my rounds, I was distressed. While visiting Los Angeles, I had grown grown attached to having Srila Prabhupada's personal association and reading Krishna book in his garden. Now my self-pity was mounting. Around 9 p.m., I was lamenting my misfortune when Kirtananand Maharaj came into the kitchen with a huge smile on his face. Guess what? He said. You are going to be Prabhupada's personal servant. You'll be leaving tomorrow morning with him to go to Pittsburgh. I was speechless, ecstatic, and very nervous. It happened so quickly that I didn't have time to be mental about it. I was ecstatically exhausted. At 6 a.m., Kirtananand Swami brought me to Madhuban, which was a small one-story farmhouse where Srila Prabhupada was staying. I was still in a state of shock. We walked into the small sitting room and I offered my obeisances. This is Srutakriti, Srila Prabhupada. Kirtananand said, he cooks very nicely. That's very good, Srila Prabhupada said smilingly. But he doesn't know how to massage, Kirtananand continued. That's all right, Srila Prabhupada said. Anybody can massage, it is very easy. Then Srila Prabhupada picked up a lota on the floor by his desk and said in a deep voice, "Okay, come with me." He went out the back door of the farmhouse and walked to the edge of the pavement. He stopped there for a moment and turned to me. "All right, wait here," he instructed. Srila Prabhupada walked about another 50 feet into a wooded area. After a few minutes, he returned to the edge of the pavement where I stood according to his instructions. As he walked by me, he handed me the lota and said, "All right, wash this with some dirt and water." He then walked back into the farmhouse. It was wonderful how he dealt with me that morning. There was no chit chat, no please or thank you. He immediately let me know that my position was to be his menial servant, assisting him in whatever way he wanted and taking care of his bodily necessities. I was in complete bliss knowing what my service was. I didn't have the ability to do anything. Scroll down. This was the first day of where कहाँ पे था? I was in complete bliss knowing what my service was. I didn't have the ability to do anything that required intelligence, so for me, this service was idle. I had been given the most wonderful service of taking care of the transcendental body of the servitor of God. This was the first day of my life. For the first time, I could understand what my body and mind were meant for. Unfortunately, due to my youthful restlessness and inability to sincerely take to the process of Krishna consciousness, I lost my service after a few short years. Now, with great regret, I am begging the Supreme Lord Krishna to please give this fool another chance to serve my spiritual father. Srila Prabhupada, without you, I feel very lost and alone. I do not know what to do with myself. It is very painful. When I don't think of you, my beloved spiritual master, there is no reason to live. Whenever I remember you, Srila Prabhupada, there is much pain knowing I have wasted my life in useless sense gratification. Srila Prabhupada, I could have been with you cleaning your lota. Okay, Sambit Prabhu.
Leave it. Scroll. January 1973, Mahadeva Flat, Bombay, India. Prabhupada dances but stops to protect the deities. Srila Prabhupada spoke every evening for a week at a Pandal program arranged by the devotees. Thousands of people attended. Srila Prabhupada sat on his Vaishya Asana on the stage with his disciples gathered at his feet. Radha Krishna deities were placed on a large stage. Their lordships were later installed at Bhaktivedanta Manor in England. It was an eventful week. One evening, an electrical fire ignited behind the deity's altar. The fire spread, but unfortunately was put out quickly. But fortunately was put out quickly. More devotees arrived daily. So by the last day of the program, dozens of Srila Prabhupada disciples were in the attendance. The Western devotees couldn't understand the lectures because they were spoken in Hindi, but it was evident from the enthusiastic crowd that Srila Prabhupada was enlivening everyone. The last day of the program was especially
Enlivening.
enlivening. Srila Prabhupada was enlivening everyone. The last day of the program was especially wonderful. After Srila Prabhupada finished his lecture, he nodded and said, "All right, have kirtan." Achyutananda Swami, sitting by a microphone with a mridanga in hand, began to lead the chanting. Within a few minutes, Srila Prabhupada got down from his Vaishyasana and started to circumambulate the deities. He went around and turned and bowed before Sri Radhakrishna.
The devotee started to follow his divine grace, and as he went around for a second time, he clapped his hand and smiled as he walked around the shaky stage for a second time. Again he turned and bowed down before their lordships. The kirtan became more ecstatic. Everyone relished following Srila Prabhupada as our eyes drank the nectar of his ecstasy. He majestically walked around their lordship once more, completing his third time. He bowed down before the Supreme Lord and his pleasure potency and then faced the crowd. As he turned, he lifted his arm high in the sky. He benedicted us all with the biggest smile I ever had. He had danced, just he had danced, jumping up and down to the kirtan. He immediately lifted all of us. He lifted us all to the transcendental realm. It was amazing how Srila Prabhupada controlled us by the movement of his arms. When he raised them up into the air, he picked everyone up with them and deposited us in the spiritual world. The crowd of thousands were caught up in ecstasy. The kirtan was out of this world. The dancing on the wooden platform by dozens of devotees was so wild that the stage shook. Their lordship began to move back and forth on the altar as if they were joining their pure devotees in his ecstasy. Along with other devotees, I went behind the altar to help the deities down by holding their base. Nothing, noticing the situation, Srila Prabhupada stopped dancing. When the kirtan was over, Srila Prabhupada and I got into the back of an ambassador and it started for Kartikeya Mahadeva's flat where Srila Prabhupada was staying. So the pandal was very nice. He asked in a transcendental smile, Prabhupada, it was really wonderful. I said, when you dance, everyone immediately goes into ecstasy. Yes, he said. Actually, I could have kept on dancing, but I saw that the deities were endangered, so I stopped. Otherwise, I would have kept on dancing. Srila Prabhupada, thank you. Srila Prabhupada, thank you for allowing me to dance, me the chance to witness your spiritual potency. By our conversation in the car, it was evident that you relished distributing the mercy to everyone present. I knew I was the most fortunate living entity on this planet being able to sit next to you in the car. Please raise your arms over me once again so that I may dance according to your desire.
अच्छा, कौन बचा है रीडिंग करने के लिए?
निखिल प्रभु सर।
ठीक है, एक एपिसोड पढ़ लो, उसके बाद में जो संबित का एक क्वेश्चन था वो डिस्कस करेंगे। ठीक है,
अभी
निखिल एक पढ़ लो।
मैं पढ़ूं?
निखिल पढ़ेगा, बच गया ना। हाँ,
Before Srila Prabhupada's arrival at the New Zealand temple, Siddha Swarupa Maharaj and Krishna Krishna Maharaj moved the devotees out of the temple so that Srila Prabhupada would have a peaceful, quiet stay. It was an interesting and unusual thing to do, but it did allow Srila Prabhupada to chance the chance to have a relaxing visit. One evening, Srila Prabhupada asked me to prepare puris and sabji. As I prepared his meal, I realized I did not have any milk sweet to put on his plate. There were no deity worship at the temple, so I was unable to get Mahaprasad for his plate. I hadn't found the time to prepare any Sunday since our arrival the previous day. I brought the puris, sabji and hot milk into Srila Prabhupada's room and placed them on his table. I then offered my obeisances. Siddha Swarup and Krishna Krishna were both present in the room speaking with Srila Prabhupada. He allowed them to remain while he took prasad. This was a great benediction as it was not something Srila Prabhupada did often. He usually honored prasad in private. I left the room and went back to the kitchen to roll and fry a few more puris. I rushed back to my special master with 2 fresh puris. placing them on his plate before offering my humble obeisances. The Prabhupada looked at me inquisitively. There is no sweet, he asked. No, Prabhupada,
Inquisitively.
I said. I don't have any inquisitively. There is no sweet, he asked. No, Prabhupada, I said. I don't have any made yet. Oh, all right. Bring me some sugar. He mercifully said, realizing the situation. I went back to the kitchen, filled a bowl with white sugar, and returned to his sitting room. I placed the ball on his plate. He took a puri, stuffed it into the ball of sugar, and took a bite. He did this 2 times. We could hear the crunching sound as he enthusiastically chewed. He stopped for a moment and chanted, Lucy Sini Sarpuri
ये
Laddu.
भक्तिविनोद ठाकुर ने गीत लिखा है ना, उसको भोग आरती कहते हैं। लुची चीनी सार पूरे लड्डू रसबली, भोजन करे ना कृष्ण होए कुतूहली।
Lucy Sini Sarpuri Laddu Rasabali, and continued by saying, this is very good combination. It is very tasty. As he ate, the 2 sannyasis watched in amazement. Neither of these Maharaj disciples ate anything that contained even a trace of sugar. What to speak of eating the horrid substance finished in pure form. This was another of Srila Prabhupada's wondrous qualities. He always knew exactly how to surprise and unsettle his disciples, giving them the opportunity to understand his most transcendental position. Once while staying in New Dwarka, Srila Prabhupada took a one-day trip to the Laguna Beach temple, which was a 2-hour ride by car. That evening, while still in Laguna Beach, he asked for a hot milk. Although this temple had deity worship, I was unable to find sugar in the temple kitchen. I therefore sweetened the milk with honey because occasionally Srila Prabhupada asked to have his milk sweetened with honey. However, on this evening when I brought him the hot milk, he tasted it and immediately asked, why it is not sweetened with sugar? They do not have sugar in this temple, I said. How can that be? He asked in an angry mood. Some devotees think that white sugar is not healthy and that is better to avoid it, I explained. That's fine, he said. If they don't want to eat sugar, they don't have to. But Krishna likes sugar very much. This is nonsense. They must use sugar when they make preparation for the duty. Srila Prabhupada, you were astonishing. Whenever you went, you all the created by your disciples. You didn't need a network of spies to tell you what was going on. What was going on? Krishna was your spy. He gave you all the information needed so you could take the proper path for your foolhardy children. I realized the countless opportunities when I saw you display psychic abilities. Devotees often ask if you displayed any yogic power. I constantly saw you display them. You read the mind of your disciple and dealt with them accordingly. Often, it was my joyful and appreciative amusement. Please, Srila Prabhupada, grant me your association always by allowing me to remember that you reside in my heart. You know I have no qualifications, but I know how merciful you are. After all, you have allowed me to personally associate with you.
Hare Krishna. ये स्पाई वाले एपिसोड से एक घटना मुझे याद आ गई। सच्चिदानंद महाराज का पास टाइम है, एग्जैक्ट पास टाइम मुझे याद नहीं है, लेकिन कुछ कुछ पॉइंट याद है। तो एक बार सच्चिदानंद महाराज डीटीज के जो प्लेट्स होती है वो वॉश करते थे। तो एक बार उनका मन कहीं और था, तो उन्होंने ठीक से वॉश नहीं किया। डीटीज के प्लेट के ऊपर कुछ रह गया, तो उसके बाद में डीटीज को दूसरी बार भोग ऑफर कर दिया गया उसी प्लेट्स में। तो हालांकि श्रील प्रभुपाद ने कभी उस प्लेट्स को नहीं देखा, ना ही वो ऑफरिंग्स को देखा। उन्होंने सच्चिदानंद महाराज को अपने रूम में बुलाया और उन्होंने कहा कि तुमने क्या प्लेट को ठीक से वॉश नहीं किया था? बोले प्रभुपाद मेरा ध्यान कहीं और था, शायद नहीं किया था। बोले कृष्ण ने मुझे बता दिया। जबकि प्रभुपाद ने ना प्लेट देखा था, ना किसी ने कोई कंप्लेंट किया था, लेकिन प्रभुपाद को पता चल गया। तो प्रभुपाद मिस्टिक पावर है उनके पास। तो संबित क्या क्वेश्चन पूछ रहे थे तुम? पूछो तो हम उसको डिस्कस करेंगे 5 मिनट में।
चैप्टर 7 थोड़ा समझ नहीं आ रहा।
क्या समझ नहीं आ रहा चैप्टर 7 में?
मतलब पिछले चैप्टर 6 तक थोड़ा बहुत जितना समझा, लेकिन
चैप्टर 6 तक समझना मुश्किल है। चैप्टर 7 से समझना सबसे इजी है। चैप्टर 7 से समझना भगवत गीता मोस्ट इजी है। चैप्टर 6 तक तो किसी अच्छे को समझ नहीं आता। चैप्टर एक्चुअली भगवत गीता 18 चैप्टर है, जिसमें 6 + 6 + 6, तो 6 चैप्टर जो है उसमें ध्यान योग कर्म योग का वर्णन हुआ है। पहले 6 चैप्टर कॉम्प्लिकेटेड है। आखिरी के जो 6 चैप्टर हैं वो है मुख्यतः ज्ञान योग का वर्णन हुआ है उसमें, लेकिन बीच के जो 6 चैप्टर हैं उसमें भक्ति योग का वर्णन हुआ है। 7 चैप्टर से लेकर 12वें चैप्टर 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 ये 6 चैप्टर में भक्ति योग का वर्णन है। चैप्टर 7 की शुरुआत में कृष्ण बोल रहे हैं मई आसक्त मना पार्था जोगम जुंज मदाश्रय असंख्यम समग्रमाम यथा ज्ञायसि तच्छृणु। अर्जुन तुम मुझसे सुनोगे तो तुम मुझे समग्र रूप से पूरी तरीके से संशय रहित होकर के सब जान जाओगे मेरे बारे में, है ना। भगवान अपने विषय में खुद वर्णन कर रहे हैं। ये भक्ति योग के चैप्टर्स की विशेषता है। तो कोई भी जैसे सैंडविच होता है तो उसको ऊपर का पार्ट और नीचे का पार्ट इतना इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं होता जितना इंपॉर्टेंट बीच की स्टफिंग होती है। तो भगवत गीता में ऊपर के 6 चैप्टर और नीचे के 6 चैप्टर क्या है, कवरिंग्स है, लेकिन जो मेन स्टफिंग है वो 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th 12 अध्यायों में है। 7वें अध्याय में बहुत सारी भगवान ने बातें करी है। मयि आसक्त मना पार्थ योगम युञ्जना मदाश्रय असंख्यम समग्रमाम यथा ज्ञायसि तच्छृणु ज्ञानम तेहम सविज्ञान इवं वक्ष्यामि शेषतः यज्ञत्वा नेह भूयो न ज्ञात्वो अविशिष्यते। इस श्लोक में कृष्ण बोल रहे हैं अर्जुन को कि अर्जुन मुझे जानने के बाद कुछ भी जानना शेष नहीं बचता। जैसे बाइबल में बोल रहे हैं कि जीसस क्राइस्ट बोलते हैं कि मेरे पास बताने के लिए बहुत कुछ है लेकिन तुम समझ नहीं पाओगे। तो कृष्ण गीता में कह रहे हैं मैं तुम्हें ऐसी बात बता रहा हूँ कि जिसको जानने का कुछ भी जानने के लिए बचेगा नहीं। फिर आगे बता कह रहे हैं मनुष्य नाम सहस्रेषु कश्चित् यतति सिद्धयताम अभि सिद्धानाम कश्चिन् माम वेत्ति तत्त्वतः। हजार मनुष्यों में से कोई एक है जो मुझे जान पाता है ना, ये जानने का प्रयास करता है। जो हजारों में से जो प्रयास करता है उनमें से कोई एक है जो सही मुझे जान पाता है। फिर उसके बाद भगवान प्रकृति का वर्णन कर रहे हैं। भगवान की 2 प्रकार की शक्ति, बहिरंग शक्ति, अंतरंग शक्ति। बहिरंग शक्ति के विषय में बोल रहे हैं भूमि रापो नलो वायु खम मनो बुद्धिरेव च अहंकार इत्यम में भिन्ना प्रकृति रष्टता। तो भूमि, अग्नि, जल, वायु, आकाश, मन, बुद्धि, अहंकार, ये 8 भिन्न प्रकृति मतलब एक्सटर्नल एनर्जी है, मेटेरियल एनर्जी है। इसके अलावा जो जीव है, जीव भूताम अपरियमितस्तु अन्यम प्रकृतिम विद्धि में पराम जीव भूताम महाबाहो येदम धारते। लेकिन ये जो 8 जो बताया ये मैटर है, इनमें जीवन नहीं है। जीव आता है, जीव जो है भगवान के अंतरंग शक्ति से प्रकट होता है। हाँ, इसको सुपीरियर नेचर कहते हैं और पहले जो बताया गया था वो इन्फीरियर नेचर है ना। तो जीव भूता महाबाहो येदम धारते। फिर बता रहे हैं एतत् जोनिनि भूतानि सर्वाणि तु इति उपाधर्य अहम कृष्ण जगता प्रभव पल्लस्थ। All created beings have their source in 2 natures, either material nature और spiritual nature। मतलब spiritual nature में रह सकता है व्यक्ति या तो material nature में रह सकते हैं सारे जीव, है ना। जो spiritual nature में रहता है उसको ब्रह्मभूत जीव कहते हैं और ब्रह्मभूत अवस्था कहते हैं। जो मेटेरियल नेचर में तो उसको जीवभूत अवस्था कहते हैं। इस तरीके से सभी के कारण अहम कृष्ण से जगतः प्रभव प्रलयस्तः, है ना। पालन करना और मुझसे सब कुछ आया है, सब कुछ मुझ में समा जाता है, भगवान इस तरह कह रहे हैं। मत्ता परतरं न अन्यत् किंचित् अस्ति धनंजय मयि सर्वमिदं प्रोक्तम सूत्रगण मणिगवाईवा। जैसे माला जो होती है वो उसके जो मोती होते हैं धागे के ऊपर आधारित होते हैं, उस तरीके सब कुछ कृष्ण के ऊपर आधारित है ना। रसोहम सुकौन्तेय प्रभास्मि शशि सूर्यो प्रणव सर्व वेदेषु शब्द के पुरुषम नृषु। मैं जल का स्वाद हूँ, है ना, और शशि और सूर्य का प्रकाश हूँ, और सभी वेदों में प्रणव हूँ, ओमकार हूँ, और आकाश में शब्द हूँ, और एबिलिटी इन मेन पौरुषम नृषु, मनुष्यों में या मनुष्यों में उनका पुरुषार्थ हूँ, ये पौरुषम एबिलिटी। पुण्यो गंधम पृथ्वी चा तेज चासी विभावसो जीवनम सर्वभूतेषु तप चासी तपस्सु। और पृथ्वी की गंध हूँ, पृथ्वी, हाँ, और जीवनम सर्वभूतेषु, सभी जीवों का जीवन हूँ, और सभी तपने वालों का तप हूँ।
अभी
इस
वो
तरीके से
बोले ना
भगवान,
अभी,
हाँ,
जो सन का रेस जो अभी बोले ना, वो पर तो वो बोले
हाँ,
कि इम्पर्सनल फीचर को बोलते हैं वो वाला, मतलब
नहीं
इम्पर्सनल
नहीं, वो
यूज
एक
के हिसाब से
एनालॉजी
देखते
दी
हैं।
गई है ना, वो एक एनालॉजी दी गई है। सन का इम्पर्सनल वाला एनालॉजी दिया गया है, लेकिन यहाँ पे बात देखो, एनालॉजीज को एनालॉजी से नहीं मिलाना चाहिए। वहाँ अलग बात हो रही है, यहाँ अलग बात हो रही है। वहाँ एग्जाम्पल दिया जाता है कि जैसे सन का जो रेज होता है वो उसको एनालॉजी दी गई है जैसे मानो भगवान का इम्पर्सनल फीचर। यहाँ पे बात क्या हो रही है कि सन के अंदर जो तपने का जो स्रोत है, सन तपता है, क्यों तपता है, किसकी शक्ति से तपता है, भगवान की शक्ति से तपता है। पानी में स्वाद है, किसके कारण है, भगवान के कारण है। पृथ्वी में गंध है, किसके कारण है, भगवान के कारण है। हम जी रहे हैं, जीवन है, किसके कारण है, भगवान के कारण है।
वही
समझ
वाला
आ रहा
पॉइंट, द
है?
ड्यूरेशन ऑफ, हाँ वही वाला पॉइंट है, द ड्यूरेशन ऑफ मैंस लाइफ इज कृष्णा, वो वाला पॉइंट।
हाँ, सब कुछ कृष्ण है, जो है वो कृष्ण है। यानी तात्पर्य यह है कि जो है वो या तो मेटेरियल है तो स्पिरिचुअल है। सब कुछ निकला किससे है,
कृष्ण से।
कौन कह रहे ना, प्रभव,
जी प्रभु।
अहम प्रभव, यहाँ बोल रहे हैं ना, अहम कृष्ण जगत प्रभव प्रलय सोर्स। सब कुछ कृष्ण है, मतलब मैटर हो चाहे स्पिरिट हो, मेटेरियल वर्ल्ड हो या स्पिरिचुअल वर्ल्ड हो, मेटेरियल मैनिफेस्टेशन या स्पिरिचुअल मैनिफेस्टेशन, सब कुछ कृष्ण है, क्योंकि सब कुछ कृष्ण से आया है ना। हमारे लिए, मैंने कई बार एग्जांपल दिया, हमारे लिए मैटर और स्पिरिट का भेद है। कृष्ण के लिए सब कुछ उनकी शक्ति है, अंतरंगा शक्ति, बहिरंगा शक्ति, सुपीरियर एनर्जी, इन्फीरियर एनर्जी, है ना।
जी।
तो
और
ये
एक
है इस चैप्टर
चीज
का
था,
मूल। हाँ,
तो हम मतलब कृष्ण जी सेपरेट क्यों हुए, मतलब एनर्जी, हम कृष्ण जी अगर एनर्जी तो सेपरेट क्यों हुए?
सेपरेट क्यों हुए नहीं, हमेशा से है। ममेव
ये
अंशो
मतलब
जीवलोके जीवभूत सनातन, हम सनातन रूप से भगवान के अंश हैं और सनातन काल से अलग है।
अलग है, मतलब फिर पार्ट एंड पार्सल कैसे हुए, मतलब
बस यही
समझ
तो
नहीं
बात है
आया
ना,
थोड़ा।
पार्ट एंड पार्सल है, सेपरेटेड पार्ट एंड पार्सल, विभिन्न अंश कहते हैं, विभिन्न अंश।
वो
हमेशा से अंश
सेपरेट
है
कैसे
लेकिन
हुए?
विभिन्न अंश है। देखो मैं क्या बता रहा हूँ,
सेपरेशन कैसे?
कुछ क्वेश्चंस का आंसर नहीं है, तुम जीवन भर में स्पेकुलेट करोगे। उदाहरण दे रहा हूँ, मानो एक बच्चा बोरवेल के अंदर गिर गया, तो ना कभी बोरिंग के अंदर एक बच्चे गिर जाते हैं कभी कभी गाँव में, तो बोरवेल के अंदर गिर गया और फंस गया जा करके, अभी वो क्या करेगा, क्या करेगा, वो
चिल्लाएगा, चीखेगा, चिल्लाएगा, और
चिल्लाएगा, क्या चिल्ला क्या बोलेगा,
बचाओ,
बचाओ, निकालो। कि वहां पे जाके
जी
रिसर्च करेगा आखिर में गिरा कैसे,
नहीं,
क्या उसकी प्रायोरिटी होगी,
बचाओ, निकालो मुझे, उधर से निकलना है पहले।
हाँ, वो गिरा कैसे तब पता चलेगा जब ये निकल जाएगा, जब निकलेगा तब इसको देखेगा, अच्छा मैं यहाँ पे देखा और गलती से गिर गया। लेकिन जब तक गिरा हुआ है उसके मन में इतना क्वेश्चन नहीं है कि अरे मैं गिरा कैसे, कब गिरा, क्यों गिरा, किसने धक्का दिया, वो सारा इमेजिनेशन, सारी कंक्लूजन वो बाद में निकालेगा, पहले अभी निकाल, बचाओ बचाओ, बस। समझ रहे हो, कोई व्यक्ति नाव में जा रहा है, नाव से गिर पड़ा और पानी में डूबने लगा, डूबते हुए व्यक्ति क्या करेगा, चिल्लाएगा, ना कि रिसर्च करेगा कि मैं गिरा कैसे। अब कोई गया उसको बचाने के लिए, चलो रस्सी पकड़ो आ जाओ, नहीं पहले मुझे समझाइए कि मैं गिरा कैसे। समझ रहा है?
जी प्रभु।
अरे अभी टाइम नहीं है, गिरा कैसे छोड़ो, अभी निकलना कैसे ये सोचो।
जी प्रभु।
इसका कोई आंसर अभी कोई तुमको नहीं बता सकता कि हम अनादिर बहिर्मुख हैं तो कैसे विमुख बस हैं। इसके आंसर ये कुछ क्वेश्चंस हैं जिसके आंसर शास्त्र मौन है। इन चीजों के लिए शास्त्र मौन हो जाता है। इस क्वेश्चन के लिए शास्त्र के पास सारे आंसर हैं, इस क्वेश्चन का आंसर शास्त्र के पास नहीं है कि आखिरकार जीव की बद्धावस्था शुरू कैसे होती है। इसका आंसर शास्त्र में नहीं है। मैंने लास्ट में बताया, आप एक्स्ट्रापोलेट करके कुछ इंटरफेरेंस, कुछ इन्फेरेंस कुछ ड्रॉ कर सकते हो, कुछ कंक्लूजन निकाल सकते हो कि भाई हम अलग द्वेष किए, भगवान से अलग हो गए, कोई इच्छा की इसलिए फंस गए, लेकिन ये एक्स्ट्रापोलेशन है। एग्जैक्टली स्पिरिचुअल वर्ल्ड में ऐसा हुआ ऐसा नहीं है ना। तो कैसे गिरे, कब गिरे, किसने गिराया, इन सब प्रश्नों के उत्तर में शास्त्र चुप है। हाँ, शास्त्र ये बता सकता है गिरे हुए हैं तो निकलना कैसे है ना।
जी प्रभु।
ठीक है, इसी चैप्टर के श्लोक में भगवान बोल रहे हैं गिरा कैसे व्यक्ति। इच्छा द्वेष समुत्थेन द्वंद्व मोहेन भारत। श्लोक नंबर 7.20 एक मिनट 7.27 भगवान बोले इच्छा द्वेष समुत्थेन द्वंद्व मोहेन भारत। O Scion of Bharata, O conqueror of foe, all living entities are born into delusion bewildered by dualities arising from desire and hate. Hatred from Krishna या enviousness of Krishna and separate desire के कारण जीव सर्गे जानती परंतु जब से पैदा हुआ है, जब से है, तब से ही अलग है। तो कैसे अलग हुआ, क्यों अलग हुआ, उसका कब से अलग हुआ, इसका आंसर नहीं दे रहे भगवान। एक और एग्जांपल देता हूँ। कभी कभी कोई व्यक्ति को, जैसे मान लीजिए कोरोना वायरस हो गया, कोरोना के सिम्टम्स दिख रहे हैं, तो अब ना तो वो जानने की कोशिश करता है कि एग्जैक्टली मेरे को किसके संपर्क में आया था तब जाके कोरोना हुआ, और ना ही सही से जान पाएगा। भाई तुम 100 आदमी से मिले हो, 100 में से 30 आदमी को कोरोना पॉजिटिव था, तुमको एग्जैक्टली किसके कारण पॉजिटिव लगा वो तुम जान सकते हो क्या? नहीं जान सकते। उसी प्रकार से जीव कब गिरा, कैसे गिरा, कहां से गिरा, क्यों गिरा, इसका एनालिसिस एक्चुअली सही से हम नहीं कर पाएंगे। हाँ, गिरा हुआ है, इन्फेक्शन हो गया है, हॉस्पिटल गया है, इलाज में है, ठीक किया जा सकता है। ठीक है
जी प्रभु।
ओके, और कोई कुछ कहना चाहता है क्या? ठीक है, फिर यहीं तक रखते हैं। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय।